Nick from Spare Parts Puppet Theatre, and today I'm going to show you how to make a puppet. This workshop brought to you by Horizon Power and Healthway with their Go for 2 and 5 message. This puppet is going to be a hand puppet, which we're going to sit on our fingers here. And it's going to be inspired by the Horizon Power mascot, Gilbert the frilled-necked lizard. So to make this puppet, you're going to need a piece of card, a square of fabric, some Dacron, stocking, masking tape, scissors. To make the frill, we'll need the frill template, one of these long rectangular pieces of material, a long thick sewing needle, and a chenille. We'll also need some pins. Then to decorate the puppet, we'll need some more chenilles, some buttons, some wool, some scraps of fabric. And we're going to glue them on using a hot glue gun today. So let's get started. Step 1. We're going to make the control. So we get our red piece of cardboard and we see that there is a long side and a short side. We're going to put our 2 fingers in line with the short side and grab onto the back of our thumb. Now we're going to wrap this cardboard around those fingers quite tight. Wrap it around, and then we're going to get a piece of masking tape and stick down the seam lengthways. You might need to get someone to help you with this. Keep it nice and tight. Now I can take my fingers out and tuck the excess tape in the ends. Right. This is going to be our control. So the puppet's head will sit on top of here and we'll look around using our hand like that. Step 2, we have to prepare the stocking to become the head. So there are 2 types of stockings you'll find. One of them has a seam at the end, like it's where your foot goes. The other type of stocking has a hole at one end and a hole at the other end. If you get the stocking with a seam, your job's done. But if you get the one with 2 holes, we need to tie a knot. So I'm going to tie a knot at one end of this stocking. Hold it between 2 fingers and my thumb. Pull the long end around my fingers and in front of the other bit of stocking. Take the other bit of stocking and hold it tight between my 2 fingers there. And now I just pull it down, still holding on tight. There's my knot. So this is going to be stuffed with the Dacron and become the head. It's going to look something like that. At the moment it's got this little bit of stocking on the top here. Now you can choose to keep this here. It could be a bit of hair, it could be a feature of the puppet, or if you don't want it, grab a hold of it, turn it inside out, and then it will be a nice smooth head. Step 3, it is time to stuff the stocking with Dacron to make the head. So I've got a bunch of Dacron here. We want to stuff it in until it is the size of a large apple and quite firm. Okay. What do we think? That's a good size, but it's not quite firm enough yet. Okay, this looks good to me. This is quite a large apple, but it feels quite firm. So this is good. Step 4, we're going to make a bird's nest inside our head. But first, this one here, the stocking was a little bit too long. I've got a bit of excess stocking here. You might not, but if you do, I'm going to cut this off. Okay, so now where the stuffing comes out, pretty much it's at the end of the stocking. Okay, so now we make our bird's nest. Put the head against my chest, put fingers inside and pull apart. Pull apart and pull apart. So I'm hollowing out the middle of the head, like where a bird might lay its eggs. Okay, got the bird's nest going all the way in there now. I'm going to take the control and put it inside the bird's nest, all the way to the end. I can feel it at the top there. I'm going to put my fingers back in the control. That's how it's going to look. Okay, now the next step is the hardest part. We have to tie a knot where there's nothing to tie a knot with. So I'll take my fingers out. Against my chest again, I'm going to pull the stocking out to either side and then bring each side around the front, tie a knot, and tie again, just like when you're starting to do your shoelaces. Just doing that twice. It's very tricky. You might want to ask someone to help you. I want to ask someone to help me. Okay. But there we go, it's tied. Now we give it the all-important wobble test. Put my fingers back inside and wobble. Phew, it doesn't fly off. I passed the wobble test. If yours doesn't pass the wobble test, got to deconstruct it. Try again. Because I passed, I'm now going to put some sticky tape around where the control meets the stocking. So just to really secure that and make sure it's not going to come off. Like that. Step 5, we have to make a body for our puppet. Okay, so this is where you get your square of material. So choose the material that you think is best suited for the body of the character that you're creating. You can think about the colour, you can also think about the texture, how the material feels. What sort of body would your character have? So I've chosen this nice light blue, green, it's kind of reptilian, so I think it's going to suit Gilbert quite well. We need to find the centre of this square of fabric. So to do that, we fold it in half, and then fold it in half again, and then this corner here, where all the folds are, that is the centre. Now we're going to put our scissors inside this fold and cut about 1.5 centimetres. It's better to cut too small than too big. If we cut too big, we have to start again. If we cut too small, we can always cut a little bit more. So now, to attach them, I put the head upside down, I put the fabric upside down, and I put the fabric over the head, trying to push the control through the hole. So this hole isn't quite big enough, I'll just cut a little bit more. That'll do. And now that's quite a tight fit. The body slides down the control, like so. If it's nice and tight, then just to secure it, another piece of tape, joining the material onto the control. Like that. So now we have a head and we have a body. At this point, you might want to cut a hole for your thumb and a hole for your other finger so that they can be the hands, but you don't have to. Now it's time to make the frill for our frilled neck lizard type character. So we take these long rectangles and you'll see that at one end there's a seam going all the way down, which we're going to push our chenille through eventually. But first of all, we need to attach it to the template. Now the template does tell you what to do. It says fold fabric in half, and the fold goes along this side. Place at lower edge of seam. The seam is down there. So I'm going to put the template on top with the seam down the bottom, and the fold on this side here. And then, as the template shows us to do, I'm going to put 2 pins through the template and the fabric and not pin my hand. There we go, now we have the template pinned to the fabric that's going to be the frill. Now it is time to cut along the thick line. It says start cutting here, so I will. Great. There's the excess template. Here's the excess fabric. You might want to use that later for scraps of fabric. And now I'm just going to take the pins out, take the template away, and there we have the frill. Step 7. We need to take our long white chenille and put it through the end of this long, thick sewing needle. Tie it off a little bit, so that'll stay on. And now we're going to thread this through the seam at the edge of our frill. Get the chenille out both ends. Excellent. I'm just going to hold that there. Try to get the middle of the frill in the middle of the chenille. Okay. I think that's pretty good for the moment. Now I'm just going to wrap this around our puppet's head. And there we have it. The frill for our frill neck puppet. Now the final step of the process is where you get to get really creative and give your puppet a face and a personality. So we've got all sorts of things to play with here. You could stick on some buttons for eyes. Now you could use a few buttons. You could have the white of your eye, and then the coloured bit, and then the black bit in the middle. You could use 3 buttons for that, or maybe it's not a realistic eye at all. We've got these little chenilles here, which could put on the top and make some angry eyebrows, or could be a smiling mouth, or you might decide that your puppet likes to sing and give it an open mouth, so it's singing or whistling. And the good thing about this Dacron in the head is that you can squeeze it and bend it and twist it and shape it and pull out a nose if you wanted to. Make all sorts of strange shaped heads for your characters. What else could we do? We've got these scraps of fabric which you could use as clothing, or cut up strips of it and make it hair, anything you'd like really. Now a good way to make hair is you get some wool and wrap it around your fingers or your whole hand. Wrap it, wrap it, wrap it, and then take it off your fingers. You've got this loop of wool here. I'm going to take another piece of wool, put it through the middle and tie it. And then when I cut the bottom, this is kind of like making a pom-pom. When I cut the bottom, we have hair that we can stick on top of the head, or it could be a moustache or a little artistic goatee as well. So the possibilities are endless, and we like to stick these on with a hot glue gun and put some newspaper down on the table. So that's about it. I think it's time for you guys to get creative and see what sort of interesting characters you can make. Thanks. See you.